Think back to the very first time you earned a paycheck. Do you remember how it felt? The excitement, the nerves, the awkward first steps into adulthood. Today, we're taking a heartfelt journey into the past, hearing from seniors who graciously shared memories of their very first jobs, the challenges they faced, the lessons they learned, and how those early experiences shaped the people they became. Whether you're starting your career, contemplating a change, or reflecting on your own beginnings, these stories offer timeless lessons in resilience, humility, and perseverance. Grab a coffee, sit back, and let's dive in. For Margaret, it all began in the clattering heat of a small-town diner. At just 15, shy and barely tall enough to reach the sinks, she worked as a dishwasher, scrubbing plates until her hands turned red. It wasn't glamorous, and the hours were long, but Margaret learned something priceless, that no task is beneath you. When you're building your future, she smiles now, remembering how proud she felt bringing home that first paycheck, folded neatly in her apron pocket. Susan, 69. At 17, I worked at a department store. I was terrified of dealing with customers. I once gave a woman the wrong change and cried in the break room. But that mistake taught me attention to detail, and that mistakes are part of growth. For Robert, the days started before dawn. At 13, he bundled up in layers to deliver newspapers on freezing winter mornings. The weight of the canvas bag over his shoulder, the crisp air biting his cheeks. Each delivery was a quiet promise kept. Robert chuckles, recalling how he learned the importance of reliability. People might not know your name, but they trust you to show up. That lesson stuck with him for life. Gerald, 75. I worked in a factory assembling small parts. The machines were loud. The supervisors were tougher. It was the first time I learned how to navigate authority, find pride in my tasks, and work through exhaustion. Sometimes it wasn't about the paycheck. It was about the unexpected lessons tucked between every shift, every customer interaction, every mistake. Anita's first paycheck came from the local library, a sanctuary of silence and endless books. At 16, she spent her afternoons reshelving novels and memorizing the Dewey Decimal System. It was there she discovered her love for organization, for structure, and for the quiet satisfaction of doing a job thoroughly, even when no one was watching. It's in the smallest tasks, she says, where you build the foundation for bigger dreams. Linda, 70. I started as a library assistant. I thought it would be simple. Instead, I learned patience, dealing with difficult patrons, sorting endless piles of books, and maintaining a sense of calm. Patience, I realized, is a superpower. For James, it was a summer spent hauling heavy bags of fertilizer at a garden center. The work was hot, dirty, and exhausting, but every customer he helped and every pallet he moved taught him something about perseverance. He remembers collapsing into bed each night, muscles aching but heart full, realizing that hard work could make you proud even when nobody claps for you. Henry, 80. My job was at a local farm. Every morning before school, feeding animals, cleaning barns, I learned respect for nature and a deep appreciation for every meal on our table. Behind every first job, There's often a mentor, someone who nudged us forward, offered guidance, or simply showed us. Carol, 74. The diner manager where I worked was tough but kind. She once pulled me aside and said, "No matter what job you do it with pride." That advice carried me through every job afterward. Eleanor's first paycheck didn't come from a traditional job at all. It came from teaching piano lessons in her parents' living room. She was only 17, but learned early that sharing your skills can be as valuable as selling your time. That experience taught me, she says, that if you love what you're doing, you never really feel like you're working at all. Walter, 79, an old supervisor, taught me to always double-check my work. Not because he was mean, but because he believed in excellence. That lesson stayed with me into my own business years later. Betty, 77. When a customer left a huge tip for my service, I felt seen. It wasn't about the money. It was the recognition of hard work. For Samuel, the world opened up behind a grocery store cash register. He started bagging groceries after school, memorizing the prices, and chatting with customers in line. Through that humble job, he learned the art of small kindnesses, a genuine smile, a patient ear, and how treating people with respect, no matter who they are, always matters. It's never just about the work, Samuel says. It's about the people. It wasn't all struggle. First jobs often held moments of pure joy, tiny victories that made the effort worth it. Charles, 81. My first paycheck? I used it to buy my mother a gift. That feeling of giving back was priceless. Looking back, each of them agrees on one thing. It wasn't the paychecks or promotions that made those early jobs special. It was the seeds of character they planted. Responsibility, grit, kindness, and perhaps most importantly, the belief that no matter where you start, the lessons you gather along the way are what truly shape your life. Maybe today's work feels small. Maybe your path feels uncertain. But remember, every great story starts with a first step. And sometimes, those first steps happen behind a counter, in a kitchen, on a delivery route, carrying dreams heavier than the job itself. Thanks for joining us today. We hope these memories sparked some of your own. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and never underestimate where your first steps can lead.